Hello, welcome to this video. Thank you so much for tuning in and sharing this now moment with myself and with one another. If you haven't seen these videos before, welcome back. If you have, my intention is unity and oneness and the highest levels of love light. I just wanted to pop on and do a quick update. I haven't done a video in a while, and so thank you for tuning in. The first thing I want to say is happy solstice. I don't know what's going on with my color here, but I'll just have to roll with it because I don't have a lot of time. This is meant to be felt, not necessarily watched. What I'm sharing is a heartfelt appreciation for all my fellow humans and starseeds out there that are going through what they're going through what you're going through. We're all in it in some way or another. This solstice for me, and we're still in that energy. By the way, it's not like it's just one day. You have 24 hours to go through this portal. We are the portals. So essentially, as we work, as we grow, as we express, as we move and expand, we are constantly going through portal. So if you feel like you missed the wagon, that isn't necessarily true. There is no time in other dimensions. So I'm not going to go quite there, but what I wanted to share was this solstice. It's been a culmination of things. It's been a culmination of portals. When we go through this period of time that we call it on here on the planet Earth, it can be highly alchemizing, catalyzing. And so for me personally, I'm just giving a little energy update from my perspective. I processed and still am processing a lot of emotions. I do many different things. I wear many different hats. My primary focus is my intuitive readings and my energetic sharing and energy. I call it energy exchange because I'm not really healing another person. I am exchanging information and energy with them through my portal, which is my body, which is my connection to source, which is my connection to what I refer to as my higher guidance team. And when I do that, I then allow access to all that I am. And the person I'm working with feels into that and remembers more of what they are. And that's all it is. And we could call it healing if that's what we want to label it as. So one of the things that I've been processing, and I haven't been doing as many videos, are it's everything. Sometimes we have a tendency to think that once we reach a certain level or a certain goal, things will look a certain way. And one of the things that I'm constantly shown is, nope, it's not going to look the way you think it is. So really letting go of expectations, again, has been really important for me, and to really stay in the moment so that I'm not disappointed by certain things that are not what I thought they were. So that was a big message that came through for me recently. One of the other messages that's been coming through for me is integrating all of it. We are integrating all aspects of ourselves. I have a tendency to go way out into the multiverse, the omniverse presence, the universe, whatever we want to call it, all of these versions and dimensions I tune into. But then I'm called to bring it all in, rein it all back in, and merge and integrate my 3D, 4D, 5D, 6D, 7D, whatever numbers we want to label it as. We are multidimensional beings accessing so much in this physical realm, but we came here to live a physical life. We came here to live on Earth. And so sometimes many people, what I've noticed, can get caught up in this idea that we're working towards the fifth dimension. We're working towards ascension. Our goal is that. And we beat ourselves up when we feel like we're doing the opposite or we're not there yet. And again, this is a future projection. This isn't necessarily where we are all of the time, because we do oscillate, from my perspective, in and out of these realities. And this differs from what other teachers and humans, I'm just going to, we have this label around way showers, light workers, star seeds, all of it. And I'm really called time and time again to bring it back to the human. When I say human, I see it that as humany. I see that as hue as in a color schematic that we are all part of. We are part of a spectrum of light, frequency, and sound that we are essentially embodying in this reality. Whatever that reality is or looks like depends on the individual human experience that we are collectively expressing as a whole, as a fractal, as a unit. Yet we are reining it back into our own individual expression and our own individual reflections. We are all reflecting back to one another the aspects of us, the aspect ratio, the spectrum, the frequency, the color, the sound. All of it is being constantly mirrored and reflected back to us as an outward expression of the inside. So when I say inside, right, what is a side? A side is not the entire, right? It's a side. It's a piece of something. But I also see it as psi, P-S-I. I see it as a breath. So everything I play with, I look at it from as many different perspectives, angles, and that I can. And as I do that, I start to bring it back inside of myself, and I see myself from one perspective. But from another perspective, I see myself in all things. And from another perspective, I am the projection from my own movie perspective of Carrie. So that's going to be different than everyone else, and that's what makes me unique. And we are all doing that from my perspective, Carrie's perspective, in our own way. So really getting out of one side or the other side and going back inside is really key in all of this. The more that we do that, the more we realize that we make into realization, we see with our eyes, we see with new eyes, and we begin to unfold from there. We allow our reality to unfold, holding this different perspective that then allows us to create from that new aspect. And when I say aspect, I always think of aspect ratio, which brings me back into spectrometry. I always mispronounce these big words. Or it's color. So I'm seeing it from a different hue, a different color. And essentially then I'm able to see the rainbow and express that out in my own unique way. So I was really called to, I see what a lot of people are going through because I've been through it most of the time myself. I've been through quite a few things in this lifetime that I have expressed in some of my older videos, but I'll just share those were opportunities for me to be able to experience them so I could recognize another within me. And so one other, so I could go into so many different regions here. So it's a lot to wear these different hats, you guys, and we're all going through it in our own way. We're all having these moments. When I say we're all, there are some people out there that say, well, my neighbor definitely is not. But I would venture to say that's irrelevant to our own experience because that's relevant to their experience. They might have come here and chosen to be the player in this game that they are so that they could show us what we came here not to experience. Yet inevitably they are part of our experience once we see that. Whew. So these are just some of my musings. And so energetically, we've upgraded. Many of us have upgraded. Some of us have not fully stepped into our own recognition of that, our own power, for whatever reason. And I'm going to do a lot more videos coming up here very soon because I feel really called to get back in the swing of things. I've really had to take time out and separate myself from this realm of the internets and go back go back and enter my own frequency so that I could come back out again and again. We're constantly being rebirthed, reborn, renewed. And so the more we can stay in the flow with life and not necessarily get caught up in a particular one tunnel vision, one linear expression, the more we can allow ourselves to open to the fullness of what we really are, the fullness of what we came here to express, and the fullness of what others are expressing. And so it changes then from that perspective. We see our reality in a different way, and we begin to interact with it in a different way. We begin to interact with each other in a different way, and then we begin to create in a different way. And we are creators. So as we create from that new expression of more fullness, of more spaciousness, of feeling more centered, we are then able to access more of that. And we begin to let go of the linearization or the categorization that we may have boxed ourselves into at one point. For that box and that mold that we had poured ourselves into, that we felt so comfortable in, has broken. It's cracked. And broken isn't the right word. It's cracked because we've expanded beyond the limitations of what that old box, category, reality, paradigm held us in. We've expanded beyond what we've held ourselves back into before. And that's a play on words. Back into before. In the past. Back. Behind us. Before. Yet now we are moving into, and I always say a higher score because it's a higher frequency. It's a higher mathematical equation and expression. So I know I just went into many different places and spaces there, but this is what these types of large nodes that we come into through these time portals, which we'll call the solstice, and this, it lines us up with every moment in time that we've had this type of frequency and energy, past, present, and future. So we feel sometimes emotional, and I'm kind of going into the physical now. We feel, we're processing so much that it can feel big, because we are that, right? We are all of those aspects. We are all of that. And at the same time, we are, I just went into so many different places. So I'm going to end on that note and just say that what I plan on talking about in more detail in my next upcoming videos is going a little diving a little deeper into the Kundalini, diving a little deeper into relationships that we've maybe created through this in this new timeline, or that we are creating or will be creating, how we're interacting with each other in a different way. Again, I don't know what's going on with this light, but I look like a peach person, but it's okay. Many of us are feeling this new, and an orange nose. Looks like I had too much carrot juice. Either way, I'm just going to end on that note and just share that, yes, there's so much that I'm going to be talking about in the future. So thank you so much for tuning in, and in love and light, have fun co-creating, and breathe, get grounded. Our diets are going to have to change for a lot of us. Our friendships are changing. How we interact with others is changing. All of it's changing. All of it has changed. So we'll talk a little bit about navigating that in some of my next videos. In love and light, guys. Namaste.